Today I fucked up by subjecting a random teacher to a repeated dunking for 15 minutes. This was when I middle school. I used to have a really great history teacher that me and the kids used to love and would hand out candy and just be there to talk if you needed him. Well, one spring he advertised that he was going to be at the local fair to raise money for charity by participating in a dunk tank and asked us to show up. Cool. And the sweetener was that we'd get a piece of candy for each time we dunked him. Even better. So middle school me saved up 3 months of allowance, chore money for the big day and ended up with something like 40 tries worth of money by then. Come the big day and there's predictably a huge line as every kid he's ever taught wants to support him and get candy. So long of a line that right as I was about to take my turn, his shift ends and he's replaced by another fellow teacher from another school district. Now here's where the "today I fucked up" comes in. One thing to know about me is that while I'm not athletic, I'm an idiot savant when it comes to carnival games and understand it's about accuracy, not showiness, so I was pretty confident I was going to get some hits in. Little did I know that my childlike brain would get into some weird rhythm and basically make something like 35 of the 40 attempts I had on the poor teacher, basically dunking her as soon as she got back onto the platform for something like 15 minutes straight. Looking back, it was pretty clear someone should have stepped in with a mercy rule, but my childlike brain knew candy was on the line, so I just kept going and going and going, probably making this lady wonder if I was some former student that had it out for her. Too long did not read. Had 40 attempts to subject my favorite teacher to a dunk tank. He got replaced at the last minute by a random other teacher. I dunked her without mercy for 15 minutes straight. Sounds like you charitied the fuck out of them. I think the funniest part is picturing her trying to remember you from class and failing to do so. This is how one-off Saturday morning cartoon villain is made, ha ha ha. I hope they had like a behind-the-scenes competition for who raised the most money and she got an award. God, I hope your history teacher was watching and keeping track. He owes you a shit ton of Snickers. Today I fucked up by eating an entire pack of sugar-free Werther candies. My mum had a packet of sugar-free Werthers stashed in the kitchen that nobody was meant to touch. I touched them. I was craving some sugar and they were right there in front of me. I took the entire bag, and snuck it into my room to consume. They were delicious, addicting even. I couldn't stop eating them at a rapid pace. One candy turned into 5, which turned into 10, and before I knew it, I ate almost 30 of them. All was good, I was happy. But then, the stomach pain arrived. It was subtle at first, just your usual pain. I ignored it, but then, it got even worse. Flatulence arrived like an evil god and it wouldn't stop. Gas was building up inside my intestinal tract and I couldn't stop it. I farted and farted, trying my best to relieve the pressure that had built up in my intestines, but to no avail. This continued until that dreaded moment. I let go of a particularly devious fart that I was holding in, and it was then that I sensed it. The sense of heat, the sense of liquid spurting out of a tight hole. I sharted. I immediately went to the bathroom and what came next was a hurricane of pure liquidized feces. It was disgusting, it was painful, it was scary. I have never experienced something like this. I finished my tribulation and left the bathroom, safely disposing of the rancid boxers. I knew something was up, something about those devious candies. I went to the Werther website and there I saw it, in small print, hidden below the nutritional information, was a warning. It read, "Excessive consumption may produce laxative effects." I was gobsmacked, my jaw dropped, hell, even my heart dropped. I couldn't believe my eyes. Those candies I ate to relieve my sugar cravings were actually my doom. I did some calculations and realized I ate almost 80 grams of the natural laxative present in the candy, isomalt. I did some research and I was shocked even more. The amount of isomalt you had to consume to pose a risk of intestinal distress was 20–30 grams. I consumed 80. It has been almost 12 hours and I have been to the toilet an untold amount of times. Even now, I am writing this very post in the toilet, contemplating my dire future and if I will see the light of day again. 12 hours and the clock just struck 2 a.m., and yet, the poison shows no sign of slowing. I am in for a long night, my friends. No information anywhere tells me the length of the laxative effect. I might be patient zero. Only I could be the one to eat 30 of those sweets in the span of 30 minutes. Whilst I am living in this hellish torture, I have decided to warn the people of the world about my fate, lest they also think of doing something so stupid and uneducated. I will never be touching any sugar-free alternatives ever again in my life. This day will be remembered as a day of pain, a day of suffering, and as a day of agony. I wish this fate upon no man, not even my greatest enemy. Too long did not read. I foolishly ate an entire bag of sugar-free candy and with it was around 80 grams of a natural laxative and now I'm paying the price. Edit 1. Okay. I managed to get myself to bed and succumb to the sweet release of sleep. Fearing that I will wake up in the middle of the night. My bed laid to waste by a violent barrage of dung. But the worst did not come to happen thankfully. The liquid diarrhea has lessened substantially, probably because I have literally nothing in me for my body to even digest. But the flatulence is still going strong, albeit in a much less frequency than the day before. Haha, just realized from all the comments that I ate sugar-free candy to deal with a sugar craving XD. Not the smartest thing I did. It also seems like I'm not the only one to fall for this despicable trap. I've read up on the infamous sugar-free Haribos. My condolences go to all the victims. And I agree with the person in the comments. Why aren't these laxative labels more pronounced? Like be honest with me, who is only going to eat like 2-3 of these if you have an entire bag? Sad face. Excessive consumption may produce laxative effects. I knew where this story was going the second I read the title. I sympathize and will share an experience of my own. When I was in Army basic training, pretty much all we could get for a treat on our own time was cough drops. We could buy them at the store, we went like once every 2 weeks, or have family send them in. Anyway. It was about halfway through our 10-week cycle when we collectively found the label excessive consumption may produce laxative effects and lots of things started making sense for us. We did not stop eating the cough drops. Now you gotta write a review on Amazon like the Haribo gummy bears. Holy crap, no pun intended and nothing holy about it. I know I looked up the ingredients in those things. It isn't just the isomalt. My tortured friend maltitol, isomalt, sorbitol, and sucralose can all cause that effect on their own. Those damnable things have all four. That is just evil. You poor son of a bitch. Didn't even have to read past the title. Sugar-free Hall survivor here. Drink some sort of electrolyte solution like Pedialyte. Today I fucked up by setting up my boyfriend to look like the village's idiot. Obligatory English isn't my first language and I'm on mobile, so sorry for the formatting, plus it did happen today, though it's the result of years of build-up. It's very dumb too, so buckle up. So for context, I'm a huge bookworm. I'll read almost any genre and reading is one of my favorite things. My boyfriend on the other hand is not into books. He has a handful of genres and topics that he will make an effort for, but he generally doesn't like to read books. And sometimes he'll ask me what I'm reading about. Some books I know he'll love the story of but won't read, so those I explain well, and we have a nice sharing time together. Others I know he'll be bored about halfway through me explaining the plot, and in these cases I can see his attention drifting and it's frustrating to spend time answering a question when you're not being listened to. So I started making up shit sometimes. Honestly, IDKY really, I thought of it as a harmless prank and really had no ill intent. I legit thought that I'm the only person with whom he discusses books anyway, so it doesn't hurt anyone. Yeah, well, turns out I definitely do not have the gift of foresight. I have no idea how he ended up discussing books with this guy at a bar. We were with a group of friends of his and their spouses and he started a conversation with a guy there, but somehow he did. I think this guy used some kind of analogy with the Scarlet Letter. Now, as far as my boyfriend is concerned, The Scarlet Letter is a book about a soldier who mortally wounded a Japanese deserter on accident, witnessed him dying and then found on the corpse a letter soaked in blood, and decided to deliver it himself. I knew Hawthorne's story would have him yawning in my face in a few seconds, but a World War II epic story, that he'd listen to. Problem is, now my boyfriend is confused, and as soon as he opens his mouth and starts talking, it's the other guy that get confused. They're obviously not talking about the same thing. I jumped in and said something about there being a second book, by another author which I didn't remember, and the conversation went on. Later when we were home, I did explain to my boyfriend what had happened. I figured I owed him that. The incident made me feel so guilty, and he was confused at first. He asked why I'd done that and I was like, IDK. Explaining some books was boring for both of us, so I made it entertaining, and much to my relief, that cracked him up. He said that it was actually cute that I'd invented stories to entertain him, but demanded that I made a list of all the books I'd done that with so he'd know not to make a fool of himself in the future. He's already cracking jokes at my expense about it left and right, and it looks like it's gonna stick, which is fine by me lol. Too long did not read. I sometimes invented a whole new story when my boyfriend asked me what the book I was reading was about. Then one day he discussed the plot of the Scarlet Letter with someone else to find out it was not, in fact, about a soldier in Japan finding a letter soaked in blood on an enemy and deciding to deliver it. That's hilarious. And honestly, it's really impressive that you can make up convincing, entertaining stories on the spot. Wait. Write the book about the soldier but make the Japanese soldier kill himself because he was captured on Okinawa. That would work better than an accidental killing and work the Haimuri students into the story. I'm so used to unhinged behavior when I'm on Reddit, I think from people in general, so reading this gave me a big smile this morning. It's nice to know he was able to laugh at the situation and himself. Decent normal human, love it. Dudes at the bar discussing books. Lol. Sounds like a wholesome chap. Way to 1984 your BF. Now stop.